Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome to Aliens Fireteam Elite by Cold Iron Studios. Who the hell are Cold Iron Studios and what have they ever done? Yeah, that's a really good question. They were founded in 2015 and since then they have done nothing. Although it's likely that they have been contracted out to work on bits and pieces of other people's games, Aliens Fireteam Elite is the first game of their own to be published. So it's quite surprising just how good this game is. I mean, I freely admit that I'm probably heavily biased here because it's Aliens. But this game is way better than I was expecting it to be. I mean, I was hoping it was going to be great, obviously, because with the exception of Alien Isolation, we haven't been doing too well for great Aliens games in the course of the last 10 years or so. I mean, look at Colonial Marines. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did actually enjoy playing Colonial Marines, but I was under no illusions that I was playing a good game. It was pretty terrible. And if it didn't have the Aliens sound effects and visuals, I probably wouldn't have given it the time of day. But Aliens Fireteam Elite is an entirely different beast altogether. It's not trying to outdo Aliens Colonial Marines, although that wouldn't have been too hard. Gearbox Software didn't set the bar particularly high where that game was concerned. Now what we have here, rather than an incredibly badly put together single-player story game set in the Aliens universe, is a cooperative horde survival shooter set in the Aliens universe. It's more like Left 4 Dead or GTFO, and I have to say, while I think Left 4 Dead is fantastic, and I really kind of enjoy GTFO as well, every time I'm playing those games, I couldn't help but think, can you imagine how much better this would be if it was Aliens? And that's exactly what this is. And I'm not completely unaware of the implied double standard there, by the way. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, but Jingles, doesn't that mean that if this wasn't Aliens, you probably wouldn't have given it a second look? I've got to be honest, I probably wouldn't have even given it a first look if it hadn't been Aliens. It's because it was Aliens that it popped up on my radar in the first place, and I'm happy to say that it's still a good game. It does compare quite favourably against other, more established horde survival shooters like World War Z, GTFO, and of course Left 4 Dead. It's actually quite unfortunate for Aliens Fireteam Elite that it is being released at around about the same time as Left 4 Dead, because they are very, very similar games. But, and again, this is just me showing how superficial I am, I'm probably going to be playing Aliens Fireteam Elite more than I'll be playing Left 4 Dead, because Left 4 Dead doesn't have Colonial Marines, and it doesn't have aliens. And this does. And if that means I'm hopelessly superficial, then so be it. But I know what I like. So, what's it all about? Well, as we've already established, it's a 3-player cooperative horde shooter set in the Aliens universe, where you take the role of Colonial Marines and you have to shoot lots and lots and lots of aliens. Now, if you're a Billy No-Mates like me and you've got no friends, you can actually play this solo. Your 2 other teammates will be substituted by bots, a pair of synthetic marines. I do have a slight confession to make in this regard. Unfortunately, due to a breakdown in communications between myself and the Twitch live streamer Flambass, we were supposed to be playing this together on his live stream on Tuesday night, on the 24th, the day this game went live. Anyway, long story short, we got our wires crossed and I ended up not being able to make it onto the stream because I thought he was talking about playing on Wednesday, so, you know, what are you going to do? Which is why you're watching this technically single-player co-op with 2 bot AI synthetic marine teammates. The game is entirely playable with the synthetic marine teammates rather than actual live players. But it is way, way better with actual players who are at least semi-competent. It is not recommended that you play with the synthetic teammates on anything other than casual or normal difficulty. And even on normal, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. And that's not just because the bot AI isn't very good. I mean, it seems to be perfectly reasonable. Of course, human players are always going to have the potential to be way better than any bot teammate, but human players also bring something else to the party that the bots do not. You see, the bots don't have a character class, they're just Marines. And human players get to choose from one of 5 distinct classes, and the abilities that those classes bring to the party are going to be vital in determining the potential success or failure of the missions that you're going to undertake. For example, here I'm playing a Demolisher. You see the M56 smart gun stacked over my shoulder? Yeah, only the Demolisher gets to use that. The Demolisher also has a couple of abilities specific to the class, shoulder-mounted rocket launcher for example, and the ability to, well, basically stomp the ground and knock back any enemies that have gotten too close. Other classes, like the Gunner, is more like your standard Marine, specialises in the M41 pulse rifle, but also has the option of using a pump-action shotgun as a close-quarters weapon, and has the ability to dramatically affect the rate of fire of all of their teammates when the shit hits the fan. You can also choose to be a Marine medic, a Marine technician, and later on, once you've earned enough experience and unlocked the option, a recon Marine. Your synthetic teammates, if you're playing solo, do not get any of these abilities, and as you can imagine, careful use of the right ability at the right time can often mean the difference between success and failure, particularly if you're playing on higher difficulty settings. Oh, contact front. As you can see, the visuals, and as you can hear, the sound effects, are absolutely spot on. Time to rock the smart gun. The smart gun, because it's a smart gun, has an auto-aim feature.
Signal from behind.
There's a narrow cone in which you have to frame the target, at which point the weapon locks on and all you have to do is pull the trigger. It's mounted on a sort of Steadicam harness. Actually, in the movie, that's exactly what it was, a Steadicam harness. But the idea is that there are servo motors included in the harness that will basically lock on to whatever you're aimed at, and all you have to do is pull the trigger and reload when necessary. Oh, and by the way, if you are rocking the smart gun, and you're wearing anything other than a bandana, you're doing it wrong. Although I suppose wearing Private Drake's Sulaco ball cap is also an acceptable alternative. So let's talk about those difficulty levels, because they do make a huge difference. You can play on casual. Your weapons will do more damage, the aliens will do less damage. When an alien gets close and manages to grapple you in close quarter combats, it's easier to break free from the grapple and you take less damage from it. Also, when things inevitably go south and you end up being downed, your teammates have a very generous window of opportunity in which to get to you and revive you before you're killed. Essentially, casual difficulty is exactly what the name would suggest. It's Colonial Marines on training wheels. Next up is normal mode, and that's what I'm playing here. Normal mode, the aliens do more damage, weapons do less damage. When you get downed, there's a shorter window of opportunity for your teammates to get to you and revive you before you die. Next up from there is intense difficulty mode. And honestly, if you're looking for that authentic Aliens experience, intense is really where you should be playing. Because not only do your weapons do less damage and the aliens do more damage, other factors come into effect, like friendly fire is enabled in intense mode, and it's not in casual or normal. This can often mean that when the aliens do get too close to your teammates, you can often become a bigger threat to their survival than the aliens themselves, as you desperately hose them down in an attempt to get the alien off their back. And if you don't kill them outright, your teammates that is, not the aliens, the amount of acid splash created by the dying alien is also a lot more dangerous. And that's just considering the threat posed by the regular swarmer aliens, the cannon fodder. The ones that look like the creature from Alien 3. And then the game suddenly starts throwing different types of aliens at you, such as the Burster, which I believe was first seen in Aliens Colonial Marines and is just about to make an entrance here, and there it is. And if that thing dies anywhere near your teammates, it explodes into a massive cloud of acid. Can we just take a second here to talk about the sound effects, by the way? I mean, I've already remarked at how good they are. Oh, and there's a spitter, so yeah. He sits at range and spits acid at you. Again, I believe the spitter alien debuted in Aliens Colonial Marines as well. But the sound effects, aside from being spot-on representations of the way the aliens and the guns sounded in the movie, just listen to the smart gun. Did you hear that? Did you hear how the pitch and tone of the weapon firing changed the lower I ran on ammunition? I didn't even need to look at my ammo counter to know that I was about to run dry. Also, something else that you may have noticed, which is extremely welcome. Have you noticed that when I'm shooting at the aliens, occasionally a big red X will appear over the head of the alien? That's to let me know that I've killed it. I don't need to continue wasting any further ammunition on that one particular alien. I should shoot at something else in the swarm. And now, of course, we really do need to talk about the motion tracker, because it's been a staple of Aliens games. Well, they had it in the original movie, but it wasn't really used to its full potential, except for the scene where Captain Dallas was trying to flush the alien out of the air vents. But it really came into its own in the movie Aliens, and was exploited very successfully in the game Alien Isolation as well. Because James Cameron, when he was directing Aliens, realised that the motion tracker is not a device for detecting aliens, it's a device for building suspense and horror. Because the director of Aliens, James Cameron, realised, to his credit, that nothing is going to shit your audience up more than knowing something is coming, but not being able to react to it. And this, of course, was highlighted in Aliens in the scene where the survivors of the original assault into the atmosphere processor were sealed into the operations centre, watching their motion trackers tell them that the aliens were getting closer and closer and closer until, hang on, that's inside the room. You must be reading it wrong. I'm reading it right, man. And then they all looked up and realised that the operations room had a false ceiling. And that's where the aliens were. Now, that's what the motion tracker's for. The fact that it also lets you know which direction the threat is going to come from is just a happy accident. But that's not what it's actually for. It's there to build tension and suspense. And that's something that it was exceptionally good at doing in Alien Isolation, as a result of the slower paced nature of the gameplay. In Alien Isolation, the motion tracker was very effectively used to mess with your head. That's not really something that it can do here in Aliens Fireteam Elite, however, because of the... oh shit, ow, ow, get it off me, get it off me! Because of the fast-paced nature of the gameplay. I mean, don't get me wrong, the motion tracker can still provide you with some extremely unwelcome surprises, particularly when you're dealing with a horde to the front, and then you quickly glance down at the tracker from the corner of your eye and then realise that, oh shit, they're coming in from all sides and I'm low on ammo. So, you know, there's that. But it definitely isn't, due to the nature of the gameplay, exploited to the same degree that it has been in other Aliens games, which is a shame, but, well, that's just the nature of the beast. Now, as for the difficulty levels, we've talked about casual, normal, and intense. There are actually 2 higher difficulty levels above intense, but they're not immediately available to you from the start of the game, which... ow! Ow! No! Stop! Help! Kill it! Kill... Where did it go? I need to heal. Yeah, you can also only carry 1 med kit on normal difficulty. The Marine Medic, of course, can carry more. But we don't have a Marine Medic, because I'm the only player here. Oh shit, here it comes. That is a big bugger. Oh, that was another alien type, distinct from the ones that we've seen so far. It's a lot like the Hunter in Left 4 Dead. It just kind of bides its time and waits until you're being overwhelmed, and then it jumps out and starts savaging one of your team. And if it's not dealt with quickly, as you saw, it just, well, runs away, jumps back into the air vents, and waits. And there are other types of alien as well. We haven't seen one of the warriors yet, I don't think. The warriors are bad news. They're the aliens that we saw in the second movie, Aliens. Running into 1 warrior is not good. Running into 2 is a bloody nightmare. And of course they don't attack you alone. They attack you in the swarm with all of the other cannon fodder, the Alien 3 xenomorphs, backing them up. So while you're hammering the warrior down which takes a lot of ammo, in much the same way when everybody panics when a tank appears in Left 4 Dead and everybody starts desperately trying to run away from and kill the tank and completely forgets about all the rest of the zombies. It's the same deal here in Fireteam Elite. Going back to the subject of the difficulty levels, however, we've talked about casual, normal and intense. And there are actually 2 other difficulty levels above intense, although they're not available right from the start of the game. These higher difficulty modes are locked behind something that's known as your combat rating. And the combat rating is basically just an aggregate score that's based on your player level, because yes, you can level up your character class. It's a bit like a role-playing game in that respect. There are various different skills that you can unlock, and weapon attachments and upgrades for all of your weapons. And the tougher you are, the higher level you are, the more you've upgraded your skills and the more attachments you've attached to your weapons, boosts your combat rating and will eventually unlock access to the even higher difficulty settings. It is not recommended that you play on intense or higher with AI teammates, because you will get your arse handed to you so fast that you won't know whether to shit or go blind. Because your AI teammates don't have character classes that can be leveled up. They don't modify and upgrade their weapons. So they're really not going to do anything other, despite the fact that their AI does seem fairly competent, but they're not going to really do anything other than hold you back at anything higher than normal difficulty. In fact, intense difficulty, oh shit, a prowler. Get him, get him, get him, get him. Yeah. They don't get the abilities that I'm currently enjoying, where the longer I keep my trigger on target, I enjoy a stacking damage and accuracy bonus. And in fact, when you elect to play the game on intense difficulty, it specifically warns you that it's not recommended to try to do it with the AI teammates. So, yeah, I mean, this should be fairly obvious. It is a cooperative shooter after all, so as the name would suggest, it's definitely best enjoyed with friends. Although, if you don't have any friends online, it can still be enjoyed with training wheels on at lower difficulty settings, played by yourself. Now, you may have noticed at certain points, like right now for example, my teammates are taking cover, because the game does feature a cover mechanic where you can take cover behind obstacles, which is mostly a liability and a complete waste of time when you're facing swarms of aliens. But while I haven't actually experienced this type of gameplay myself, because it's still early days and this is just the first level, at some point, as well as the aliens, you're also going to be facing corporate synthetic military bots who are going to be shooting at you with their own smart guns and pulse rifles. And at that point, the game kind of turns into a cover shooter. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, because I always felt that these were the weaker parts of other games where they gave you a break from the aliens for a bit. The part where you were fighting an entire detachment of corporate military synthetics in Colonial Marines, for example, that had somehow managed to stay undetected on board the Sulaco, was one of the weaker sections of an already pretty weak game. I mean, I just like fighting aliens. But, well, as long as they don't overdo it, and I can get back to bug stomping again relatively quickly, I'm prepared to give them a pass. Now at the moment, in case you're wondering what's going on, you can see the countdown at the top of the screen there. That's a bit of a nod to the self-destruct countdown on the Nostromo in the first movie. Nice, I like that. But we're on a countdown waiting for the elevator to arrive, so that we can get the hell out of here and actually reach the first checkpoint in the game. 60 seconds to go. Fortunately, we can refill our ammo. Oh shit, there's a warrior. We've got one teammate down. I need to deal with that warrior before I can revive him. Oh shit, no, get it off me, get it off me, get it off me. Come on, no, 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 bugger off, you big bastard. Okay, I'm gonna live, maybe. I mean, I mistimed my first dodge roll, that's why he was able to grab me. And no, okay, he didn't grab me because I got the dodge roll timed, but my stamina bar has now drained, which means I can't dodge again. The stamina bar affects how often you can dodge. Ah, another teammate down. Okay, clear the immediate threat. being revived by the other bot. I'm just going to cover them. 5 seconds to go before the elevator gets here. It's at this point where I'm not ashamed to say I may have panicked a little, because the elevator is right there, on my right. I'm being told, enter the elevator. Oh shit, there's another warrior. And I'm about to run out of ammo. Yeah. I just ran right past the elevator, because for some reason I thought the elevator was down here all of a sudden, and I am not going to survive that. Both the rest of my teammates are down, I cannot be revived, I have now been killed in action. And unfortunately, because entering the elevator triggered the game's first checkpoint, it means that now I have to redo the whole thing from the beginning. On the one hand, it's good to know that even on normal difficulty, this game is capable of scaring the shit out of me. And honestly, I don't mind having to do it all again because it was so much fun. But I am more looking forward to playing it with friends tonight, or last night, if you're watching this video on the day it was released. Because while this is a lot of fun playing on your own, it's going to be so much better playing with friends, because that's what it was designed for. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you're going to enjoy Aliens Fireteam Elite, because I definitely have. And I have no hesitation whatsoever in recommending it. In the meantime, as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.